Hidden in Rabai, Kilifi County, lies a place that tells one of the Kenya's most fascinating stories. A story of faith, culture, education, and history. Today, we are taking you inside Dr. Krapf Memorial Museum, a place that preserves the legacy of the first Christian mission in Kenya. Stay with me as we uncover stories behind these walls. Welcome back to Cheyiel Escapes. If you love travel, history, and discovering hidden gems across Kenya, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. As we leave the busy streets of Mombasa, the scenery slowly changes. The noise from the city fades, giving way to the calm countryside. What makes this journey so special is not just the destination, but the story that is awaiting at the end of it. Rabai is the home of the first Christian church that was established in Kenya by Ludwig Krapf in 1846. Along this route, it's easy to miss the importance of this location, by the way. Yet, this quiet community played a major role in shaping the religious education, literacy, and missionary work in East Africa. Today, many visitors come to explore the church, the museum, and the history that continues to inspire so many generations. So Rabai holds the history that has been carefully preserved for over a century. So join me as we discover one of the Kenya's most remarkable historical treasures.
Citizen now.
Permanent.
Permanent citizen. Oh.
You're done with the photo?
Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon once more.
Good afternoon.
I'm William Kombo, and I'm happy to welcome you to this historical site. It's one of the prestigious historical sites in Kenya. It was established in 1846 by Dr. Krapf and Dr. Rabai. These are the first missionaries who arrived in Kenya. The mission of spreading Christianity is the level of Africa. The first missionary to arrive in Kenya was Krapf. He arrived in Kenya in 1834. That's the time he landed in Mombasa. By then, Mombasa, Lamu, Zanzibar was under the Sultan of the Ottoman Arabs. So when he reached Mombasa, he had to ask permission to spread Christianity in the island of Mombasa, and the Sultan granted him permission to spread Christianity. Only that he faced Islam. Islam had influenced the place earlier before them, so he did not manage to get any convert in the island of Mombasa. Also, he faced a challenge of tropical diseases. His wife and his premature born daughter died of malaria in Mombasa, and they buried in Nyali. So after burying his people, because he was not making any impact in the island, he decided to explore the hinterlands. He moved out of Mombasa to Uchuda Creek and landed to the first homestead that was called Kaya Mozimubia. Kaya Mozimubia was a homestead belonging to the Rabai people. And there he was welcomed by a council of Kaya elders, where some of them were afraid of this white man because they were not used to white people. They thought he was an evil spirit. Some feared him because there was slave trade, and the people who were conducting slave trade resembled Krapf. During that time, whenever they suspected anybody causing insecurity to their community, the only option they could take is just to assume that person. So there are those who thought of killing Krapf, but the chief elder had received prophecy of the mysteries of the coming of the white man. And anything that was prophesied during that time, they took it as divine. And because of that aspect, him had power to convince the other members of the council to accept Krapf in the Kaya. So Krapf lived with them in the Kaya. At one point, he wanted to build a church in the Kaya, which is about 2 kilometers away from here down this side. But because of their culture and tradition, they did not allow Krapf to build a church in the Kaya, where people lived, when it was a homestead. Instead, they rejected the idea, but they could not leave Krapf to go without any answer. They took him out of the Kaya, they brought him to this place, and they showed him a land that was approximately 99.9 hectares. So after he was given the land, in 1846, Rebman joined him here, also sent by the CMS, Church Missionary Society of England. And that's the time they set up this mission center by putting up 3 buildings. The church, this is the church they left here, the one you see. Today we use it as a memorial museum. Then you have Rebman's house, that building you see there. And we have Krapf's house. It's here at the back, you see it from this. The one had a top floor. So that house served as a residence for Krapf. It also served as a guest room. It also served as an office. The upper floor was an office for the CMS. So they opened this place officially as a headquarters of the CMS, which is Anglican Church today. And when they opened this place, they embarked on their journeys of spreading Christianity. Rebman went to the side of Tanzania in 1848, and he became the first white man to see Mount Kilimanjaro. In 1849, Krapf went to the central part of Kenya. He was the first white man to see Mount Kenya. 1851, they managed to get the first convert. His name was Murenje. This was a Rabai. You see the duration from 1844 to 1851, 7 years down the line, without getting any person joining Christianity. So this man was this Murenje was a dying cripple, and he could not survive the disease. He died shortly. That amount to fear the members of the community that being converted to a Christian is a taboo or a revelation that will lead to your death. So they feared joining Christianity, and also because of their culture and tradition could not allow Christianity to penetrate to them, they rejected the idea of Christianity. Right. Krapf gave his report to the CMS in 1853. By then, they were joined by 2 people, a boy of 10 years and his father, who the boy was Nyondo Jana and the father was Jana Abegonja. They were here. So when Krapf went back to Germany, he left Rebman and the 2 people, Nyondo and his father. When he gave the report in 1953, the CMS withdrew the contract with Krapf, and they took Krapf back home in Germany. Then, the Royal Geographical Society had an interest of the report of the geographical features, Mount Kenya and Mount Kilimanjaro, because he reported there are snow mountains along the equator line, which the Royal Geographical Society do not believe there is any snow mountain along the equator line. And to prove that report, they sent the explorer who was Jacob Ehadi. He came to this area, went round, and came up with the crude map of East Africa. Right, let's locate the geographical features. This is the map that attracted the British. Came here as tourists, looking at the 2 mountains along the equator line. Later they discovered the rich lands. They captured those lands and started growing crops like coffee, tea, pyrethrum, where they took the produce to their homeland. Eventually they captured the economic management of East Africa and later colonized East Africa. And that is why we say the coming of the missionaries paved way for the coming of the colonialists. That's how it was. Yeah. So, also as we track the history of Rabai, we come to understand that Rabai played a major role in the abolition of slave trade. It is here where running away slaves came to seek for refuge. And when they came here, the missionaries were disturbed, or they were in a fight with the slave masters, because a slave was a property of someone. But them, they hosted them here. They decided to pay compensation to the slave masters, so they live away with the slaves. And they managed to liberate more than 1,000 freed slaves. They even established a refuge camp in Freetown, Mombasa, where they also liberated the slaves from the Indian Ocean who are destined to Arabic countries, and they were given place to stay in a Freetown. So, all that happened, and Krapf went back home in Krapf came back again in East Africa in 1862. He came with the Methodist Church. They introduced the first Methodist Church in Rabai and went round through all the places that he went through, Methodist Church, and he went back home in late 1880. Died in 1881 in Germany. And Rabai was here until 1875, went back in 1876 and died there and buried in Germany. Right. But the Church Mission Society had continued the initiative of liberating slaves, freeing slaves, and in 1889, this place had more than 2,000 people. Among them were the freed slaves. This church was not enough. They decided to put up the big church, St. Paul's Church. The foundation of that church was laid in 1885. It was accomplished in 1887. After the completion of the church in 1889, the CMOS conducted a ceremony to give slave freedom certificates to the freed slaves, who some of them were in Freetown and some were here. After they were given the certificates, some were settled in the plot that was given to Krapf, the 99.9 hectares, and some were settled in Freetown. Right. So that is how it was, and in the process of spreading Christianity, we have found they had a lot of challenges. Some of them have mentioned from Mombasa, Islam, tropical diseases. When he came to the Kaya, he was faced with the challenge of slave trade, the challenge of culture and tradition, but there are main challenges which were very difficult for them to pursue without looking for solutions. Like one, illiteracy. People could not read the Bible. Christianity didn't want to read the Bible. For them to solve this problem, they introduced modern education. The first teaching class for the modern education was conducted in this church and was produced by the missionaries. And that is the class that gave birth to Isaac Nyondo Primary School, the school you see here. And this is the first school in Eastern Central Africa.
Oh.
Wow, okay.
Isaac Nyondo Primary School. Isaac Nyondo is the boy who came here and he was baptized in 1860, was named Isaac Nyondo, right? He happened to be the first African teacher. That's why the first school was named after him, Isaac Nyondo Primary School. Are we together? Yes. There is a challenge of language barrier, but Krapf worked out to solve the challenge by translating the languages from English, Swahili, to Nyika. Nyika is the language of the Mijikandas. Went ahead to Kamba, Kipokomo, Kitaita, and Gala. 6 East African languages, and he came up with a dictionary and a grammar book. He also translated the Bible from English to Kiswahili. He's the first person to attempt translation of the Bible from English to Kiswahili. Right. So these programs have become of benefit to us up to date, because in the translation of languages, today have the national languages, English and Swahili, which connect us all over the world. We can live anywhere and communicate with people, make friendship, because there is an easy way for us to interact with them. But before them, it was difficult for us to have that opportunity. So we have learned so many things. Being here, I know you go out of this place while your brain has been refreshed.
Yes.
I'm expecting that you'll not go out of this place the same person, right?
Yes.
So I want you to give an opportunity for you to go to the museum now, extract all that we have had, because I have just given an introduction, but there's so much, not unless you have a question.